let's talk about the new 2025 Tudor watch releases. I wasn't going to make this video, I was just going to talk about these releases when I do my weekly roundup, but I think these releases deserve their own video because they're pretty interesting. So first, let's talk about the new Tudor Pro models. This release is so frustrating because this watch is almost everything we asked for. They came like, what, 85%, but they didn't go that extra 15% to give us everything and to make this watch almost perfect. So first of all, let's talk about the positives. I really like the color of this new dial. It is, of course, this sort of white polar dial. It looks quite a bit like the Rolex Explorer 2. Without it being a copy, it's an homage in a way, but it still retains enough of its own brand identity. It still retains that Tudor Black Bay case design, and I really like the pop of yellow for the GMT hand. In terms of the dimensions, this one is the same as the previous version, the one that was released, 3 years ago at this point. It comes in a 39mm case diameter by about 14.6mm in case height, and is still powered by the same movement, the caliber MT5652, which is a COSC certified GMT movement with 70 hours of power reserve. Now, why do I say this release is frustrating and it didn't come that 100%? Because they still used the same movement as other Tudor Pro models, which means that this watch is still a little too thick. Last year, we got the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT, which came with the new updated caliber, the caliber 5450, which is slimmer, which allowed that GMT watch to be about 12.8mm in case height, which is a huge difference between the thickness of the 58 and the Pro. And that is the frustrating part. They already have the movement. And for the most part, the cases are very similar. They can create this watch in under 13mm. They just chose not to. And that's the frustrating part. At the same time, I understand they have to release something next year and the year after and the year after that. So of course that model is coming, or at least I hope it's coming. I don't know, but that's the frustrating part. I think this watch is great, but it could have been better. Next, let's talk about the new Pelagos Ultra. This one is actually a very interesting and a surprising model. So it is essentially the Pelagos with the water resistance increased to 1000 meters. And the very first question everyone is asking, who needed this? Who was saying that Pelagos didn't come with enough water resistance and it needed more? But at the same time, I kind of get it. They wanted to introduce a new Pelagos model to the lineup, but they had to make it a little bit different, right? Because the color scheme and the design is very similar to the existing model. So how do you differentiate this new model? Well, you give it more water resistance and you slightly tweak the case. So this one still comes in a titanium case. It's about 43mm in diameter by about 14.5mm in case height, which is not too bad for a watch with 1000 meters of water resistance. This one is powered by the caliber MT5612, which comes with 65 hours of power reserve, and it is a high beat movement that beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. There are also a few other small tweaks to this model. You can see that the grip on the bezel got a little more pronounced, so it should be easier to operate. The clasp and the bracelet are still fantastic. It comes with this spring-loaded mechanism, it comes with a diver extension, and overall this clasp is one of my favorite clasps on any diver watch in the industry. This watch is more expensive than the standard Pelagos. So the standard Pelagos is about 4,500 USD. This new watch is about 5,200 USD. So it's about what, $600-700 more expensive for the extra water resistance. It is also only slightly thicker than the standard Pelagos. I think something like 0.2 of a millimeter thicker. So not a huge difference. Next, we got a brand new model with the Black Bay 68, which is the largest model in the Black Bay lineup. Now, this watch completely took me off guard. I didn't even think that they were planning to release something like that. It wasn't even sort of at the back of my mind. So this one here really surprised me. It comes with two different dial versions. There's the silver dial and the blue dial, and I'm guessing we're going to see more dial options as this model progresses. It comes in a larger case, so this one is 43 millimeters in diameter, which is a little surprising. At the same time, I think it's pretty smart because a lot of watch manufacturers, a lot of watch companies are moving towards smaller models, and Tudor offers quite a few of these smaller watches. So why not create something larger for people who are asking for larger models? I think it's a pretty clever play. In terms of the height, it's not too bad, 13.6 millimeters in case height, and this one is powered by the caliber MT5601, which comes with 70 hours of power reserve, and it is a high beat movement at 28,800 vibrations per hour. Now, even though this watch is sort of the largest watch in the Black Bay lineup, usually that comes with higher water resistance, but this one here still comes with 200 meters of water resistance, so the water resistance was not affected or bumped up in any way, just the sizing and the color combinations. And in terms of the pricing of this model, it's about 4,100 USD, which is slightly more expensive than other Tudor models. I guess the larger the model, the more expensive it is. And lastly, we got this Black Bay 58 in an all burgundy color combination with the 5-link bracelet, but we all know it's actually the Jubilee. I think just for whatever marketing reasons and trademarking reasons, they can't call it Jubilee, but in this video, I can do what I want, so it is a Jubilee bracelet, which I think is the most exciting part of this model. The color combination does look pretty attractive. Usually, I'm not a huge fan of these red watches, but I think on this model, it works well, and it is one of the sort of staple colors of Tudor lineup. This burgundy, this shade of burgundy is strongly associated with Tudor watches. For years, they were offering Black Bay models with this shade of burgundy on the bezels. Now it is also available on a dial in this smaller case. And speaking of the case, it stayed almost the same as the standard Black Bay 58. It is only slightly thinner, and I have a bit of a theory about that. However, the diameter stayed the same, 39 millimeters, and as I said, the thickness is slightly slimmer, 11.7 millimeters in case height, as opposed to 11.9 millimeters on the standard Black Bay models. And I was thinking about it, why is this model slightly thinner? And the only reasoning I can come up with is this new Jubilee bracelet. Tudor probably doesn't want you to put this bracelet on older versions of the watch. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it will fit exactly perfectly, but that's kind of the only explanation I can come up with for them to make this watch ever slightly thinner, because why else would they even use a slightly different caliber of the movement, the MT54000, as opposed to the MT5402, which the standard model comes with 70 hours of power reserve. This new slightly slimmer model comes with 65 hours of power reserve, so you are sacrificing a few hours of power reserve. And again, it's kind of a puzzling choice with this model specifically, right? Because other models, they went out of their way not to upgrade. I'm talking about the Tudor Black Bay Pro. They actually actively chose not to slim down that model. But this model, for whatever reason, they chose to slim down slightly. So I'm guessing it's because they don't want you to play around with the bracelets. But hey, I might be wrong. I'm just sort of reacting to this release as it came out. And that's pretty much it for this video. Those are the Tudor releases that I wanted to cover. By the way, we also got this new Jubilee bracelet for the Tudor Black Bay Chrono models, which looks really sharp. I am excited to see what else comes up from Tudor. I think they saved a couple of models for the summer release, and they also do another release closer to the fall, so we'll keep an eye on those releases as well. Now, I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this year's Tudor releases. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.